All right, we are on. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Ginyu Farce episode number 5. Here with Connor.
Hello.
And John.
Hey, what's up?
All right, so we are talking about the Red Ribbon Army Saga. The Commander Red Saga. It's the Red Ribbon is the overarching theme. We're in the Commander Red Saga. So, I kind of want to say it's finally coming to an end. I don't know. It's been a long one. I know, Connor, you were a fan, big fan. I think this is the best part.
This was definitely the best part.
Most definitely.
Yeah, okay. So we all agree on that. So before we get into it, I just want to throw out a few housekeeping things. Number one, you can, as far as knowing what we're doing with the podcast and where we're at, you can go to our link tree. So that's, it's linktr.ee/the GFP. Then you can see where our podcasts are, and we got YouTube for those of you that don't use like a streaming service, and our Instagram's on there too. Number two, I want to give a shout out to one of our followers. His name's Corey. I reached out to him just to say thanks for giving us a follow. And, I was asking for some feedback. He said he was having some problems with the audio quality. They were too quiet. So we went in and kind of fiddled with the tracks. So they should be better now. I think we're figuring out this how to podcast thing. So that's 2, and then 3 is we are looking for an artist. If anybody's got some Photoshop skills or whatever, we just want a new logo. So if you're looking at this and you see the Ginyu Farce on Namek and it's blurry, and then in white it says the GFP or the Ginyu Farce podcast, then we are still looking. So just reach out to us on Instagram or comment or email us or whatever, and we'll get in contact. We can convert our Zenny into whatever currency you use. So with that out of the way, we are officially into Season 3 now. Dragon Ball has 5 seasons. So we're making some headway here. This saga aired in April of 1987. In Japan, and we got it all the way in October of 2002 here in the States. Before we start, I want to give a quick recap of what we experienced in previous saga, and this is the General Blue saga. So Goku tries to get the Dragon Ball from the ocean. He can't. He goes and teams up with Krillin. Bulma's with him. They go in a submarine into this pirate cave. They're being followed by General Blue. There's a lot of traps. They find a pirate robot who looks like a xenomorph Saiyan. Goku battles General Blue. He gets the Dragon Ball from the cave. They go back to the house, but they're followed by General Blue. Then they take a little detour in the Penguin Village, and it's kind of a bad acid trip there. But a rally, is that right? A rally. Kicks General Blue super hard, and he flies away to somewhere presumably in the Middle East. It looks like somewhere a desert.
Pyramids.
And then a flying baby creates a new dragon radar for Goku. Because sure, why not? And then he leaves the village. So that's kind of where we're at now. And I just wanted to introduce sort of the timeline of how this show works. Like every episode will just say, we're in year blank and Goku is this age. Or we'll say he's been alive for this many years because some age things happen later. So Goku was born in the year of 737 in April. So in the very first saga, our first episode, it's the year 749. So Goku is 12, and the World Tournament Saga, he turns 13. We move into the year 750, and that's where we are now. So Goku is 13 years old, and we're in the year 750. So with all of that out of the way, let's get started here. So episode 58, it's called The Land of Korin. We meet Captain Yellow, and his guys are currently trying to get a Dragon Ball. It was like in a volcano, and then it erupts and it shoots over to this guy named Bora. They're trying to take it from him. Goku comes in the nick of time, defeats Captain Yellow. He gets his 4-star ball, his precious 4-star ball. And then at the end, Commander Red calls Mercenary Tau. We meet Captain Yellow, or
Who's
the
a
Big
cat?
Mean Kitty. Big Mean Kitty, yep. He's a cat. There's a lot of cats in this show.
Dogs too.
And dogs, too. Then we meet Bora and Upa. Bora is the adult. He's like a, I guess, a Native American guy. He like lives in a teepee and hunts fish with a spear, and he's super strong. And then we meet Upa, who is his son, who's like super small, like half the size of Goku, maybe.
One would assume probably like half the age too. I mean, if Goku's 12, yeah, they'll put him at like 6. That sounds about right for him.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on this episode? What do you think, guys?
I was
thought
just happy to be out of Penguin Village. Sorry, kind of like
No,
just
you're
wanted
good.
Just wanted to make it known.
Yeah,
It's like
no,
you
Penguin
could've taken
Village
me
was
anywhere.
terrible. Penguin Village was terrible. I struggled to finish those episodes, and this episode was really nice. It was just like suddenly we're back into what we want Dragon Ball to be. I think it was interesting to see Bora just like, you know, I don't know. It got like a little bit of lore about the area.
Mm-hmm. And it was nice just to do something new, right?
Yeah.
I think we were all pretty relieved.
It was still following, you know, your general idea of what Goku pretty much does. Shows up, makes friends, beats up whoever's there. The only difference is that at the end of this episode, you just get the foreshadowing of Mercenary Tau.
And we don't really know much about him.
One of my favorite villains in this entire show.
Yeah, he's a great villain, and we'll definitely talk about him a lot. But yeah, he's kind of like, at this point, he's kind of like a mysterious, he's like the next level up, you know, and like a villain. Like, oh, Blue couldn't do it, we have to call General Tau.
This episode just felt like
Mercenary Tau. Excuse me, not General Tau, Mercenary Tau.
And then
he's an independent contractor.
Does Bora get shot in this episode?
I don't.
But like he just bounces him off, right?
That's the next one. No. Does he get shot?
He gets shot and he can withstand bullets.
Bora gets shot and he's just like, he just pummels right through it and just beats the shit out of all of those guys. So, it was pretty funny, pretty cool.
And just to point this out, that's just another random person who can just not be killed by bullets. Who wasn't in the World Tournament. Yeah. So, I mean, just reestablishing that, you know, there are plenty of strong people out there that aren't in the World Tournament, you know, scene that we will come across throughout this show.
Lots of people are like, hey, I could probably do pretty well, but I'm not really interested, you know?
Yeah. Bora has his, you know, exactly what you would think, like Native American, like lives off the land, very respectful of nature and teaching his son. I think in this episode he's talking about like, you know, we only take what we need from the land, and you know, very nice,
and then
simple life.
Much like Native Americans, his land is taken over by force.
Jesus.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's not subtle, right? Like they just swoop right in and just start shooting at him. But we also get at the very end of the episode, General Blue goes back to headquarters, right? To like meet. He has a dragon radar. He's going to give it to Commander
Goku's
Red.
Dragon Radar, not the Dragon Radar that they've been using, which is far more inefficient than the one that they just have now acquired.
Right, they have a radar, but it sucks. I think that's enough on 58, unless you guys got anything.
A lot of setup.
A lot of setup, basically. We're like getting ready here. 59, Goku learns about Corn Tower from Bora and what it kind of represents. And then Mercenary Tau kills General Blue. And
a pretty dope way.
And he kills Bora. We are introduced to Mercenary Tau, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah, the stakes are raised a little bit, I feel like. Did you guys feel that way? The
first thing you see is the back of his jacket. And the back of his jacket as he's walking in says, kill you. So that's the first thing that you get punched right in the face with Mercenary Tau.
Yeah, in all caps.
Yep, and
with
then
an
the second
exclamation
real
point.
thing that you see him do is him killing General Blue, which he does with his tongue. No hands.
Yes.
General Blue even tries to use his freezing glare on him, and he's just like, nah, homie. Boom.
Yeah.
Tongue right to the temple, and he's gone.
General Blue was like kind of strong. I mean, he beat Krillin, and
I would say he's like a one-trick pony.
He's like a minor threat. And Mercenary Tau just kills him like it was no problem. I mean, I've never seen a guy get tongue punched to death, but he did. And then he shows up at Corrin Tower where Bora and Upa and Goku are. We see his mode of transportation, right? He
punches through a pillar on the top and bottom, and then yeets it to his destination.
Yes. Which is super far away, right? What did they say? It's like over 1,000 miles.
kilometers?
Yeah. Like, he can just, with
1,500 miles away or something?
With stunning accuracy. I mean, if you're at a distance like that, 1/100th of a degree of an error in your throw is going to really screw up where you land. So he has a gift for sure. So not only can he throw a column over 1,000 miles, he can do it extremely accurately.
Yeah. Official number is 2,300 kilometers, which is just under 1,500 miles.
All right.
Or just over 1,500. Yeah.
And then as he is riding that there, we are slowly learning about what's at the top of the tower, which is the legend of Corrin. And that is basically anyone who climbs to the top of Corrin's tower and drinks the sacred water will be endowed with increased abilities, physical, mental. And I believe he mentions that, I don't know if he says no one has been able to do it. I believe Bora says no, he's never seen anyone do it.
Yeah, not that he knows of.
Yeah, not that he knows of.
You know, at this point, I was just thinking about, like, how cool of a character, like, Bora is, right? Because he, like, stood up to all these guys. He's, like, defending his land. And then, like, Tao just
murders him.
Like, it was nothing.
With his own spear.
He just, like, throws him up in the air. And he's, like, flailing. Grabs his spear and he's like, hey, you forgot your spear or something. And then he chucks it and just stabs him through the heart. And he falls and he is dead.
This is like the most serious death we've seen so far, too.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And
it was a real.
Have we seen death before?
No,
like, really.
No. I mean, we've implied death because the way that Goku murders people, they make it seem so nonchalant. But this is the first time that you see a death that's close to
impactful.
Goku. Yeah, it's impactful to Goku.
It was. I mean, honestly, it was pretty gruesome for how, like, the tone of the show so far. And I think that's really what, like, got me hooked, because it was such a stark departure from what we've seen so far. Like, before, it's all been very, like, light and silly and pretty low consequences, even when it feels high stakes in the context.
It's more fun. Like, even with Pilaf, right? I mean, he was a villain and they were in danger, but it didn't really feel like anybody was going to die.
The stakes were never
didn't
really
feel like any characters were getting killed off. So this is sort of a Game of Thrones moment. We're introduced to this guy and then he just dies, like, the next episode.
And I think it's important to know that this is a tone shift, not just for this season, but for the rest of the show as well. You know, they've shown that, you know, people are going to die, and that's, you know, this is a fun show, but at the end of the day, people, you know, it is not a kids show.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. And that enrages Goku, and he attacks. I don't think we've seen him do that before. He, like, gets real mad and he, like almost uncontrollably, he just, like, leads into a charge because he's so angry. And then that's where the episode cuts off, mid-charge.
Alright, moving on to 60. Tao attacks. Like we said, Goku goes into a rage. We see that that's not really his strong suit, because Tao kind of just fucks him up. Pretty easily, I might add. Mm-hmm. Goku has never been one to give up, so obviously it goes on for a little while. And then we get to see a new energy attack, too, called the Dodon Ray. This is really only the second true energy attack we've seen. You know, we have the Kamehameha, and then we've seen Master Roshi pull a handful of tricks out of his bag. Like Lightning Surprise and Sleepy Boy, but those weren't really energy attack. We finally see someone who's kind of on the same, we could assume, same level.
Yeah.
It's definitely like the closest thing we've seen. We've seen high level physical techniques, but this is really like the first time that we're like, oh, there's other people out there who have energy powers, whatever that means.
And so Dodonray hits Goku square in the chest and
pretty much knocks him out.
And he is alive because there's a Dragon Ball in his like shirt. He must have some sort of inside pocket.
Yeah,
I think he's just got it. He's just keeping it like wrapped, like it fits. His outfit fits tight enough.
So sort of like a bullet in a Bible situation. Like the beam, like the beam doesn't hit him. The ball, it hits the ball and it saves his life.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Zippo and Marines.
Yeah, exactly. And then
I thought that was interesting, just like as far as what it means for the Dragon Balls. I don't know if they've talked about like how strong the physical Dragon Balls are before, but it was interesting that it's like
I don't know if they can be broken.
Yeah,
I don't believe they can.
Maybe it's like the One Ring, like it has to. Maybe it has to be a very specific way, but you can't just hit it. Or
Shenron has to eat them.
You can, he has to eat them. You can't just hit it with a laser beam. And then Goku gets up because Tao leaves, right? He's like, "All right, I did my job. I got the Dragon Ball. I'm out." And then it turns out Goku's alive. And then he's like, "I think I need this sacred water." So he's like, "I'm going to climb this tower."
And this is when they take the time to grieve Bora with Oppa and Goku, and Goku's like, this is our moment of like." Goku saying, okay, this is now my mission. I'm going to bring your dad back to life, whatever it takes.
So now we go from just hunting for his dad's ball to, again, having stakes. Like quite possibly the biggest stakes, that we've had so far.
And it does show a lot about Goku's character, right? Because he's like been looking for quite a while for his 4-star ball, and then he gets it, and then like that day or the next day, he's like, well, I'm gonna, find the rest, and I'm gonna save your dad.
Good boy, Goku.
He didn't really have to do that. I mean, there are other avenues that other characters may have taken, like, oh, I'm gonna like bring you into the city to like have a family or whatever. Instead, he's like, no, I'm gonna like basically rewrite the past and give you your dad back.
I also think that in a way it does speak a little bit to the childlike imagination, because it doesn't, obviously we know that Shenron can grant any wish, but we haven't seen anyone even think or even put into context bringing someone back to life. It's always been, like I want money, or I want to be, I want to rule the world, or something like that.
Or I want really soft underwear.
Yeah. So now, like, Goku doesn't even think about that. He's just like, yeah, Shenron will do it.
I also looked up how tall Korin Tower is, and I couldn't really find a source that's like, this is how tall it is. Toriyama said it's this tall. But there's a few different sites that I found that said it was about 25,000 feet, which is 4.7 miles or 7.6 kilometers for our friends across the sea. So it's pretty tall. That's a long way up, right? And I mean, he does have the, at least he knows that if he does fall, he can call the Nimbus Cloud, right? It's not like he's not really risking his life, climbing it, because he can always like land on it. Yeah. Probably helpful for him, right?
There's definitely a far less risk factor for him than anybody else.
He gets a little cheat code with the cloud, right? Connor, why don't you tell us about episode 61?
This is when we get to the top of Korin Tower, and Goku meets Korin, and Goku learns what the challenge is, because I think at the start it's kind of implied like you climb the tower and your prize is the water, but really we find out from Korin that you have to get it from him, and we learn that Korin is a sneaky little kitty.
Mm-hmm. Yes, another cat character. Yeah.
And on the way, is this when we see like his journey on the way up? And we see like when he meets Chi-Chi, and then we see the present. Like there's like the 3 jars of water. It's like the past, present, and future.
Yeah, at the top, he's like, "What's in this jar?" Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting.
He sees Chi-Chi. He sees Bulma and Krillin, I think, in the present one.
Yeah, in the present, he sees them at Kame House, just like doing dishes or some shit.
Right.
And then
he sees
some people that we don't know.
Yeah,
but
characters where we don't know who they are yet. But one of them is kind of small, floating on a crystal ball, and then there's an old man with a bunny mask and a halo. So we're not really sure who they are, and Goku doesn't seem to have any like reaction, like, "Oh my gosh, it's this person that I know," or something. So that was kind of interesting. I don't really know what the implications are of that water or why we see it.
Never super well stated, to my knowledge. I can't remember when it is, but there is a specific time where it comes into play where they like go into the jars in Korin's Tower, but I can't remember for the life of me.
Do we circle back up to those?
It'll be I don't know if it's in Dragon Ball even, but no, I think it is. It could be.
And Korin Tower plays a pretty big role throughout the rest of the series. I'm excited to see that. I only know like vaguely.
Korin's a fun character. When we see him introduced, he's we say another cat character. He's very different from Yellow, who's like a tiger and Korin is a little house cat with
looks kind of like
big,
a Siamese
tall,
cat, right?
like a big wooden cane. And so when Goku gets up there, Korin's very chill, very nonchalant. And he's like, "Yeah, sacred water's right over there. All you gotta do is drink it." And then when Goku tries to get it, then you slowly see Korin's game start to unfold. Goku slowly starts to get it, that you have to get the water from him, and he's a pretty spry little kitty. So I think that's really fun to watch this relationship develop, because Korin, like you said, Connor, is a pretty big part of Dragon Ball, the franchise as a whole.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how
So it's fun to see an instrumental character brought in.
It'll definitely be fun to see it grow. But this episode, it's mostly just like learning the stakes of the game, and then we they're at Kame House on Roshi's Island. It starts like storming like crazy, and Roshi's like, "Oh man, something's weird going on here. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time." Foreshadowing that what we find out, I don't know if I think the next episode, where Korin's like, "Oh yeah, Roshi did this, and it took him 3 years."
Yeah, so yes. Roshi's the only other person that we know of to climb the tower.
And it was a long time ago. It's like 300 or so.
300 years ago, which, brings up some questions.
Well, he's got the Fountain of Youth or something, right? That he drank water from or something. I don't know. Oh. Anyway, I think we learned that in like one of the first episodes. He's like, "Oh, I could give you this eternal youth," and then he's like, "Oh wait, I lost it," or something.
Yeah, something. I can't remember what it was.
But he's outside and it's storming, and he like turns max power and shoots a Kamehameha wave into the ocean and parts the sea just for funsies. I think I don't really know why he does it. He just decides to do it.
That was when he was looking in the jars, right? Goku was like looking in the jars.
That was like the end of the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what happened is because wasn't Goku like talking into the jars and Bulma could like kind of hear him.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was implied that
you could vaguely hear him, and I think that Roshi picked up on that. And this is just a theory. I think Roshi picked up on it and somehow knew that Goku was at Korin Tower and knows that Goku is becoming stronger than him, and so he went outside to test to see where his Kamehameha is at.
Yeah,
that's my theory.
Sure. I think that reads right. Excuse me. That reads right for how it is, and because it is implied that he knows what's up. And
yeah, he has some sort of
he has a feeling,
and I think that. Yeah, I just think that that's kind of his little thing. He's like, maybe it made him reminiscent of the past or something. But regardless,
he's constantly torn between being a horny old man and the warrior he once was.
Yeah.
As we saw with Jackie Chun as well.
Yeah,
we are all born with 2 wolves inside of us.
All right. So 62. Sacred water. Goku catches Korin and drinks the sacred water. Mercenary Tao makes his way back to the sacred land of Korin because Like,
we didn't really.
He needs to like loot Goku's body for the Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he's like.
Well, he left. He left, and he didn't take. He didn't take Goku's Dragon Ball, and then he didn't go straight back to the Red Ribbon base because Goku did hit him with a Kamehameha. We didn't talk about this, but Goku did hit him with a Kamehameha and destroyed his clothes. So he went to a tailor and then told the tailor, I need new clothes. Tailor told him a certain time. He said, no.
Yeah, 3 days.
3 days or I'll kill you. And so then he told General Red that he'd be back in 3 days. And then now he's on his way back 3 days later now that his clothing is made.
3 days or I kill you, and I need you to kill you into the jacket. And this was in episode 60 because... we also learn, I think Commander Red's like, oh, he forgot one of the Dragon Balls. And then a grunt, like, goes over there to loot his body, and then he wakes up, right? And so then, like, he kills the grunt, and then Commander Red's like, oh, he's still alive. And then he calls Tao, and Tao's like, that's impossible. And he's like, no, I know that we're missing. So he's like, all right, I'll go back, but it's going to be 3 days. So that gives us a time crunch. He's like, all right, I got 3 days to climb this tower and drink the water. So it's been 3 days. He's got his jacket, and then after he tells the guy he's going to kill him, puts kill you in the jacket, he does in fact end up killing the tailor.
Because the tailor asked him
The tailor wants to be paid for his services.
And I thought it was a pretty respectable exchange, too. The tailor was just like, I would just like to be paid for what I'm worth or something like that. And General Tao says, if I paid you, then essentially that would mean that I would have to pay other people for goods and services, and that I just can't do. So he murders him.
He's killing him on principle.
Yeah, you gotta respect it at a certain level.
By the way, he is getting paid 5 billion zeni up front to do this task.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not about not being able to afford it. It's about setting a precedent.
It's the principle of the thing. So, obviously
he's a frugal
the tailor.
man.
Yeah, he is a frugal man. But the
tailor, it sounds like he's gonna run out of tailors eventually.
Yeah, he probably is. But the tailor made a good point, but I did think it was very bold of him to ask to be paid just knowing who he is, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
I would probably be like, yeah, I'm just going to this one's a loss, right? I'm just going to cut my loss on this one because I don't really want to talk to this guy.
That would have been a smarter choice.
He seems a little unhinged. I don't know. Maybe I should just mind my own. I don't want to ruffle his feathers.
Back on Korin Tower, we really see like the culmination of Goku's challenge. He is working with Korin and like trying to figure out what the plan is, and we learn that like we have that revelation of Korin being like, oh, I can hear you breathing, your breath is giving you away, and that's how I know to anticipate your moves. I don't need to worry about you being fast because I always know where you're going to be. And that's when Goku has this revelation, and he does end up getting the water, and when he drinks the water, we find out, oh, it's been tap water all along. And Goku's like, oh, I get it. Yeah. The real training was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. And Korin explains this, and Goku's just like, okay, cool, bye. He's not like, really, dude? He's not even mad.
Well, okay, but also we also need to touch on the fact that Korin chucked his Dragon Ball off the roof or off the Korin Tower, and you know damn well Korin knows what a Dragon Ball is at this point.
Right.
He's like, what's this? Yeet! He just tossed the Dragon Ball, so Goku dives after it and then climbs back up the tower again. So.
In a matter of, what, like 3 hours, I think?
Yeah.
And it took him like a day to climb up initially.
Yeah, because he slept halfway up before, so.
Yeah, and so also, you think it's Korin being a dick, but it's also Korin being like, nope, this will make you stronger way quicker, so there's something to toss in there.
And then the next episode, Tao arrives, just as Goku's coming back down, and they have a rematch, and it goes differently this time. And Tao is getting his ass kicked, and so he, in a panic, starts to climb the tower because he wants the water for himself as well, because he said, well, Goku drank this water, made him way stronger, so I need to drink it so I can beat him.
I think one thing we should also touch on from 62 was the senzu bean. This is our first time seeing it.
Yeah, we should.
It's a pretty significant thing. So Corin is like, "Hey, it's lunchtime. Let's break bread together. It's all good. We're friends. I'll make you some food." And he's like, you see this, video of him like making this really nice looking meal, and Goku's like, "Oh my god, that looks so good." And Corin's like, "Okay, time to eat," and he tosses a bean, just a single bean at Goku, and Goku's just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it looks like a
this is
like
a bean,
or like an edamame seed or something. Yeah.
Oh, what is this? A meal for ants?
Yeah, he's not pleased because we know Goku likes to eat. But what did they say? It keeps you full for 3 days or something?
Something like that. It's like the elven bread in Lord of the Rings,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Just a bite will fill you up. And sure enough, he eats the bean and he belches like he's just had a huge meal, and he's like, "Oh wow, that was great."
Yeah.
Hopefully we see more of those.
Yeah, senzu beans end up doing other things later, but for now, they fill you up. Yeah, so 63. Tao starts to climb the tower. I don't know, we get we get to see really what Goku experienced in those 3 days, right? Because it's like night and day. Because he just wails on him. I mean, it's you almost feel bad for him because it's so different. And I was kind of like wondering, like, how is he so much stronger? Because it was only 3 days, and like you think about like when he was training with Master Roshi, like John lost his internet, so we're just gonna hope he pops back in. We'll see what happens. He gets so much stronger, and he's training with Master Roshi over 8 months, and he seems to have gained at least as much of an increase in strength in 3 days as he did in those 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is he's got now a baseline of how strong he is and how to train, whereas before it was just kind of he was learning what it means to train. It's high intensity, and it's also at a higher altitude, so he's it's like later in the series when they wear weighted clothes, if you're training with that.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah, you're right, he's got the high. I hadn't really thought about that.
If you're training with a forced detriment to your physical abilities, then your natural performance at the normal conditions will be a little bit better too.
All right, so yeah, as we were saying, when Saiyans are near death, they end up becoming way stronger. I don't know if, that's kind of what Toriyama was doing there. It's hard, I don't know.
Hard to say this early on when we...
But it does seem weird that he got that much stronger. I don't know. I was like, how does that work? I don't know. But there are other factors. Maybe it's a little bit of both. So that's where we left off on 63. So 64 is called The Last of Mercenary Tao. Tao climbs the tower, and he drinks the sacred water. He thinks he's way stronger. We, in fact, know that he is not. Goku kills him, or at least it seems that way. I don't know. My Dragon Ball knowledge is a little fuzzy, so I honestly don't remember if he comes back or not.
We'll see.
Yeah, and maybe... John is trying. Anyway, he's seemingly killed because he throws a grenade, and anytime that anyone in this show is trying to, use, modern weapons against Goku, it just fails miserably.
Yeah.
Guns, bullets, grenades, missiles, whatever they are. It just doesn't work, and people keep trying to do it. But he kicks the grenade back at him. I think he's trying to take off in a helicopter, if I remember. He had a capsule in his jacket or something, and he kicks the grenade back, and then he's like, all right, well, I got to get these other 2 Dragon Balls that are on my radar, so he heads toward the Red Ribbon headquarters. So what did you think about this episode?
I thought it was fantastic.
Hey, there it
is. Can't keep a good man down. They tried to take my internet.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I don't know. This episode really, it was interesting to see Goku defeating Mercenary Tao, and see the power that he achieved. But it felt kind of like this could have been trimmed into maybe A few of these episodes could have been trimmed into a little bit more condensed. It was like they really drew out some of these things.
We need a Dragon Ball Kai. I think I've said that before, but it would be nice to have.
I mean, isn't there only 150 episodes total, though?
Yeah, it's not a long series, but...
So, I mean, it'd be hard to do a Kai. How short can you actually make it?
I mean, as short as it would be when you cut all the filler out. I don't know. Tao has some cool interactions with Korin, which I liked. He's kind of tricking him, right? In a way. He tells him he can drink the water and it'll make him super strong, but he knows that he's not. And he gives him a anti-Nimbus cloud. It's like a black cloud to get back down, and then...
Which is the only time you see a black Nimbus cloud in this show, I believe.
Yeah, it's super funny. He shoots him off the tower, and then the cloud just disappears. he just
makes it disappear halfway down. Corin's a low-key super dick. I love it.
Yeah, he's really spiteful.
The whole time he's just kind of fucking around with Tao. He's like, yeah, you can make the sacred water. He's like, and then he tries to tell him the truth, and then he goes back to messing with him again, and then he helps him out with the pillar because Tao tests his strength out, and he's like, if I'm not stronger, I'm gonna kill you. And then Corin sees it's not gonna work, so he uses some magic powers he has to make the pillar crumble. It's just an all around good interaction.
I enjoyed it. Also, I think something to note from 63 is when, during their rematch, Tao's getting beat, right? But he has this ace up his sleeve, which is the Dodon Ray. So he fires it, but Goku just holds out his hands and just deflects it, absorbs it. And then Tao's oh shit. And he knows that he's screwed at that point. And that's when he gets desperate, and starts to climb the tower. He's a cornered animal at this point. So he ends up dying, or so we believe. And then he has a nice meal with Upa, which I thought was interesting, considering he ate the sensu bean, and we talked about all of the things that does. But maybe through Goku's fighting, he...
Keep in mind, we're dealing with Saiyan DNA. They eat way more than anybody. True. So for maybe an average person, sensu bean is 3 days or whatever, 5 days. Maybe for Goku Saiyans, it's a day.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a good point.
Yeah, we've already seen that Goku has a massive appetite.
An unquenchable hunger, yes.
Have we talked about Red and Black in this episode yet?
Not yet. Do we see them in this episode?
We saw them in the last one.
Yeah, sorry. And just to touch on that, you see that Red is still being an asshole, and Black is just slowly getting more and more fed up with it.
Yeah, you can tell he's getting irritated with him, and he's his right hand man, right? So he goes along with whatever he says, but you can tell he's getting mad. I think he clenches his fist or something. He's like, screw this tiny little man. I hate this guy. But maybe he has some other intentions of his own. Tao, also in a very Frieza-like way, tries to fake. He's like, I give up. You are stronger. He gets his defeat, and then when Goku's guard is down, he then tries to attack him. And that's when he ends up getting a grenade to the face. And then we go to episode 65. Do you want to do this one, John?
Yeah. This is kind of where everything starts to come to a head. We're confronting the Red Ribbon Army. Somehow, Bulma at this point has now built a machine to go look for Goku.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so she finds Goku and realizes that Goku is going to take on the Red Ribbon Army. So Master Roshi and the whole gang rounds up to go and head to the Red Ribbon headquarters to help Goku. And that kind of gives us the backdrop of this one. And then in this episode, we also meet Colonel Violet, who is seemingly the most normal of all of the generals.
Yeah, she seems, fairly well adjusted. She has her moment where she sacrifices people without a second thought. But I don't know. For a Red Ribbon Army high-ranking person, she seems fairly normal.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a Dragon Ball, in a marsh somewhere, in a swamp.
And they find it relatively easily.
I assume they're somewhere in Florida. I don't know. There's a Dragon Ball in Florida, and Violet's on it. So I thought it was kind of interesting how, Bulma, gets a hold of Yamcha, and she does so by calling her dad. Like, does Yamcha live there?
Yamcha lives.
Yeah, but they're like not. They're like not together anymore, right? They like broke up.
Yeah, but her family's also like the richest in the entire. Like, her family is richer than anyone in the world. They probably have a way for him to live there without anything.
I guess they set it up that he was living on a literal different floor of the building that their house was. But also, are they broken up? Aren't they like
maybe they're just maybe they're just on the rocks at this point. I don't know. Young love, you know.
If you remember correctly, the last thing that we saw of Yamcha and Bulma was when they were all at that
carnival
amusement park, and with fake launch, and Bulma caught fake launch with Yamcha, and that's why she went off with Goku. So they have, and we can surmise that since Bulma's been separated from Goku, she's been specifically at Kame House because she's been building, the machine to go look for Goku and all that. So we can surmise that this is the first time she's talked to Yamcha since then. That whole interaction.
And I am a little bit surprised that Bulma would be like, "Yeah, I'll stay with Master Roshi for an undetermined amount of time."
That is different.
Just because she is constantly.
Oh, we haven't even touched on the horny bonks that Toriyama's received in these episodes. I mean, it's got
we have been kind of grazing over those, but Roshi uses the camera to go to peep on people at the beach, right?
And actually, in one episode, I go through the Reddit comments of all these episodes. Not the Reddit comments, the Crunchyroll comments. And in that episode, there's a comment where there's one frame, I guess, where you can see anime boob, but no nipple. Where Master Roshi's spying on someone at the beach.
Damn it, Master Roshi.
What a world.
What a world we live in. So,
that's what Roshi is, embracing technology, but so that he can be a bad person. He's not.
And then I think, where was it? There was another one where Roshi defends himself that he reads porn for the articles.
Yeah, he does. He's reading
episodes ago.
He's reading a book, right? But then it's he's reading some spiritual, at least the title, it makes it look like it's some deep philosophical read, and then the Playboy magazines fall out. He talks about how he's reading.
They have very compelling articles.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty funny.
That was a very funny joke.
But let's see. Yeah, we get this whole subplot where the gang is gonna go help Goku, because he is obviously crazy for trying to take on the whole army. There's no way he could do it. Even someone as strong as Goku is gonna need help. So everybody but Krillin leaves, and we don't know where Krillin is at this point. Where I was just did they forget Krillin? They never brought it up. At least if they did, I
think they did, and they were like, "Krillin, we have to find Krillin along the way because he decided to go for a swim across the ocean." It was literally just a passing comment, and they don't give it any other context.
Yeah, they do say that. I think when they're already in flight, but before they leave, I don't think it's addressed. And I thought I was what's going on? Where's Krill? I think that about covers it. We get a nice little reunion, which it's always good to see all those characters together. Episode 66. It's called A Real Bind. Goku. It's basically just Goku at the army base, just costing them lots of money by killing lots and lots of people and destroying lots of buildings. So, I don't know, Commander Red's overly cocky, right? He's yeah, we can do this. I'm not afraid of this kid. But he in fact should be, because he is we basically just get 22 minutes of him killing people, right? Unless I'm forgetting something.
Of Goku killing people?
At the base, yeah. That's basically the whole episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
We get little filler scenes of the gang in their helicopter, and they're just kind of talking. And they talk about why Turtle's there, which was a good question. I don't know what help Turtle would be. But
is this where they run into Violet too?
I think
the gang.
Violet, they run into Violet, I think, in 67.
Okay.
I can't remember, but one of the two, yeah. Because Violet's like...
they pick up Krillin in 66. It's basically Goku's running through the base to get to the top, and the gang is traveling across the ocean to get to the base. A lot of leading up to the big boss in this episode.
This
a lot of action, not a lot of plot necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like Uncharted. Do you ever play the Uncharted games where you're like, I love this character, but then like you killed like hundreds of people. You're like a terrible murderer. That's kind of like Goku. He kills. His body count is very high after this.
Yeah, we have no idea how many people he's murdered at this point.
Yeah, I was tallying them, but my pen ran out of ink. Anything to add on this one, John?
I mean, not really. This really was kind of this whole thing after Mercenary Tao dies is just kind of Goku just cleaning up.
Yeah, it feels like they're just like putting a bow around this whole red ribbon thing, right? Like,
yeah.
The stakes are immediately lower again, I feel like, and it's just them like, we're just gonna conclude this whole thing here, so he doesn't have too much trouble. You want to do 67, John?
Yeah. The one thing I will touch on in 66 is there's one part where there's like 30 dudes that are all fire at Goku, and he hops into a side hallway. And there's just a dude with a rocket launcher, like 3 feet away from him, and he fires it. Goku just ducks, and it misses. And it was probably it was for me the silliest part of that episode, because he just emasculated the hell out of that guy. And
yeah. If anybody's alive, they're gonna need therapy after this.
Yeah.
Mentally, emotionally.
So 67, the end of Commander Red. We finally know what Commander Red's wish is, which is, it comes out as he's kind of doing a little monologue, and Commander Black hears him, and it's that he wants to be tall. He wants to be taller than anybody else, basically. When Black finds this out, he murders Commander Red, which, I mean, makes sense.
He's not a very nice guy, so I don't really blame him.
Yep. And then it's, Commander Black, now at this point, gets into a robot suit, which, feels familiar, and tries to fight Goku.
And I thought Commander Black was going to be a little more level-headed than Red.
He dissolves really quickly.
He knows that he can't beat Goku. I mean, he's like trying to tell Red, like, we have to leave. This isn't safe. And then as soon as he becomes commander, he says, screw that. I'm going to jump in this mech and I'm going to fight him.
Well, he tries to reason with Goku. He's like, let's be buds. That guy was crazy. True. Just give me the Dragon Balls. We'll be good. It's all fine. Goku's like, no, I don't trust you. Give me your Dragon Balls. And he's like, no, bestie, please. We're good. I'll hold on to them for you. We'll keep them safe. And Goku's like, no, you're crazy.
You would think, I feel like if he had approached it like, here's the Dragon Balls, I'm gonna go. Goku might say, okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that could have been.
But instead,
that wasn't his goal. He wanted to restore the glory of the Red Ribbon Army.
Yeah, right. That was as soon as he became commander. That
he was willing to risk his life, which I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting him to risk his life. I thought he would be a little more passive than that, from what we've seen. But he decides to take Goku on one-on-one, which will go very well for him, I'm sure. And I think it's important to say episode 67 is the end of the saga. Like, that's considered the end. However, we decided to watch 68 because 68 actually, wraps up the plot of the saga. Because 67 ends on a cliffhanger where we're like, what's going to happen to Goku? And then it starts the next saga. But the episode is sort of its own finishing of the Commander Red and not the next one. So we decided to watch 68. Because we didn't want to leave you, the listener, on a cliffhanger. Because you would have thought that Goku had died and that was the end of the show.
the one note I took for this entire season was Black giving really sound business advice while he's fighting. He's like, I'm going to restore the Red Ribbon Army to its former glory. And then when he decides to fight Goku, he's like, we shouldn't rely on contract labor. And I was like, it sounds like you should be teaching a class at like a college, man. Maybe that's your next, thing. You got real sound business advice.
Feels like they're a little bit past that. It is good advice in general. I would recommend it. So the last episode, or the first episode of the next saga, is called The Last Dragon Ball, in which Goku defeats Officer Black, and he kills him, and then the Red Ribbon Army is defeated, and they're almost, very important there to say that, they're almost all dead. There are some stragglers who we will learn about in the future, but the army's defeated, seemingly, and it's basically just the whole gang is like, wow, Goku's so strong, and they just talk about how strong he is for like 10 minutes.
Pretty much.
And then that's the end. Any thoughts on this one, guys?
I'm not gonna lie, I only made it halfway through this episode this morning.
I mean, it's not a super plot-heavy episode.
No, it's not.
It was a nice way to wrap it up.
Yeah, it really was.
It's just putting a bow on it.
I don't understand why this wasn't a part of this saga.
I don't either.
But,
and there's some, like, I think a lot of people think that it is, because even on, like, the Dragon Ball Wiki, on this episode, it says, this is the final episode of the Commander Red saga, but then you, like, look at the Commander Red saga on the same website, and it's not included. So, I think maybe there's...
you have the discs.
Right.
Do the discs line up arc-wise or not?
So the disc, somewhat. The disc ends on this episode, so I didn't, like, have to put in a new disc to watch this.
See, that to me says it should be part of that saga. Yeah. But, whatever, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. I can see why people say it's not part of it, because at the beginning of the episode they do like a huge recap of what just happened in the last episode, and it's a little bit more substantial of a recap, and then they do like a filler bit of like, here's all the things that Goku went through to get stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And they do that, but it's also just like it's important enough, and it sets up what's going to happen next enough, while also resolving what this arc has been leading to, that I would not include it in a different arc. But it's like, if they went back through and trimmed a few episodes here and there, this probably could have been combined with 67.
Yeah,
in some way.
Yeah. We get a nice flashback of Master Roshi being like a young guy and climbing the tower too. He like has his flashback, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know if we seen Master Roshi as like a young guy yet.
No, this is your first experience with that.
Yeah, and
maybe like a flashback to like a picture of him, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think he's wearing like sunglasses.
He always has sunglasses on.
He's got like a Bruce Lee haircut. It looks pretty cool. But he thinks Goku's invincible, basically. He's saying, like, Goku can't. As far as I know, I can't think of anyone who could defeat Goku, is what he's saying. So that remains to be seen. But he seems to do okay, because we have, I think, 600 episodes to go, or something. So we did, of the Dragon Ball set, the DVDs, it's 25 discs. We've completed 11 discs. So we have 14 to go. To wrap it up, any predictions for what's going to happen next? I mean, I know, John, you know what's going to happen next. And Connor, you might have a vague idea, but based on the plot that we have, what do you think is going to happen? What seems reasonable to you?
I mean, I think I feel like we're gonna get more into like the maybe supernatural side of like what Goku is, maybe not and we don't like find out what he is until Z. Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to see more of that, like how he gets so strong, or like, and obviously we need to find the last Dragon Ball. So
yeah, we do get a tiny bit of setup there.
Yeah, Goku can't find it at all on the radar, so something spooky's going on there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, he tries to use the radar, but he's like, it's not there. So Bulma's like, I can fix it, but we have to do it back at the Kami house. So they're heading back. We also get his flash forward, right, when he looks in that water and he sees those two people. So we could maybe think that they are going to be involved in some way.
I think so.
I think that's reasonable. What do you think, John?
I know what happened.
Well, yeah, I know that you know what happens, but, like, is there anything that happened in the saga that made you think, like, yeah, that's going to be addressed, or, like, just from following?
I mean, yeah, you already hit it. The pots that you saw with the crystal ball and the halo, I mean, we're going to find out what goes on with that next. It's... we're gonna find out, a little bit, as with Dragon Ball, we're slowly getting a little bit more information with every, passing thing, whether or not it's about how strong Goku is or about his past. Seem to get a little bit with every arc, every saga, whatever. So, yeah, that'll probably be, the next round.
Yeah. I think that sounds good. The very last thing I just want to say is, where do you guys think this falls in, like, your ranking of sagas? How much did you enjoy this one? Is it like in your? Do you think it's the best one? Where does it fall for you?
Connor, go ahead.
I think this particular arc where Goku with the Korin Tower and General Red part, Commander Red part, were like the height of what we've seen as far as character development so far. I think this was really exemplary of what the show can be. Because it's more than just cool fights. I know you guys are World Tournament stands, but it's cool fights and character development.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one definitely ranks as, I would say, number 2 for me, just because exactly what Connor said. We're starting to have stakes. We're starting to see Goku slowly being formed into someone who's, gonna save the world one day. We're slowly getting the characters that we know from Z. People are getting stronger. It's getting to be, it's coming. We're hitting a high note, and it's not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the direction that the show's taking. I am torn between whether I like the Tournament Saga or this one more. I kind of am going back and forth, but I really enjoyed both of them. So we'll just see where it goes. This next saga is, since we watched 68, it's only 9 episodes or 10 episodes. So we'll decide if we want to do it next week or in 2 weeks. We'll kind of see how it falls. But anyone have anything to add before we go?
No,
I'm good.
All right, then I'll just say thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys very soon.
See y'all later.